Oh God. Yeah. I was in a marvelous room with another fellow who said to the there was a very cold-looking nurse, very stern, and in 50 years of Hollywood, Walter Matthau never backed down. He insulted studio bosses, told directors to go to hell, and once said he had more talent in his fart than Streisand had in her whole body. But something happened during a forgotten 1995 interview that nobody talks about. The cameras were rolling. The questions started normally. Then came the moment. Matthau stood up, ripped off his microphone and left. What happened next explains why this interview stayed hidden for 30 years. Walter Matthau was born on October 1, 1920 in New York City's Lower East Side. His mother, Rose Boralski, had fled Lithuania to escape poverty and persecution. His father, Milton Matinskayski, came from Kiev and worked odd jobs, sometimes as a peddler, sometimes as an electrician. Their life was hard. The Lower East Side was packed tight with families like theirs. Over 500,000 Eastern European Jews lived in that small corner of New York. The streets were crowded. The buildings were falling apart. There was disease everywhere. People barely survived. Walter would later call it a dreadful, horrible, stinking nightmare. That was his world as a child. When Walter was just 3, his father left. He disappeared without a word. Walter didn't even learn that his father had died until he was 15. A letter came from Bellevue Hospital. That's how he found out. Rose was left alone to raise Walter and his older brother Henry. She worked in a sweatshop sewing ladies' underwear. The pay was small. The hours were long. Every day she dropped the boys at the Daughters of Israel nursery so she could go to work. She paid $1 a week for that. The stress made Rose strict, even harsh. Walter grew up fast. There was no choice. He learned to be tough, to take care of himself. They lived in one cold water tenement after another. These places had no heat, no hot water, often no private toilets. Sometimes they had to share a toilet with the entire floor. They could never keep up with rent. The landlord would throw them out and they'd have to find a new place. Walter remembered hiding in that shared toilet, reading Shakespeare just to get away from the misery. The Great Depression made everything worse. His mother's small wages could never stretch far enough. The constant moving, the cold, the hunger, it all shaped him. He learned to laugh at hardship. He learned to survive. By the time he was 6, Walter was hustling. On the roof of his building, he ran a card game called Bankers Brokers. He sold candy, soda, and ice cream at local Yiddish theaters. The theaters were packed with people who wanted a little escape. Walter sold to them and he watched the shows. That's where he first saw what show business was like. The card games, the selling, the watching, all of it taught him how to read people, how to spot a chance. At age 11, he got his first acting job. Was a small part in a play called The Dishwasher. He earned 50 cents a show. That was good money for him, but he didn't stop selling during the breaks. He still worked the stands, still sold ice cream and drinks during intermission. After finishing high school, Walter Matthau didn't jump straight into acting. It was the Great Depression. Jobs were hard to find. Matthau took whatever work came his way. He joined the Works Progress Administration, a government program that gave people jobs when America was struggling. One of his first assignments took him far from New York. He became a forestry worker in Montana. There, Matthau planted trees and cleared trails, working hard in the wild outdoors. It was a tough life, but it taught him the value of hard work. Matthau also had a surprising second job. Because he had boxed as a teenager, the WPA hired him to coach boxing for New York City policemen. He stayed fit and met all kinds of people, from rough street cops to young men eager to learn. These early experiences gave him stories and lessons that stayed with him forever. When World War II broke out, Matthau didn't hesitate. In 1942 he joined the U.S. Army Air Forces. He served as a radioman gunner with the 8th Air Force in the 453rd Bombardment Group. His job was dangerous. He kept communication lines open during missions and fired machine guns to defend the bomber. His unit flew B-24 Liberators over Nazi-occupied Europe. And Matthau wasn't the only future star in the skies. James Stewart, the famous actor, was the group's operations officer. Together they faced the terrors of war, flying missions over Germany and France. Matthau's base was at RAF Old Buckingham in Norfolk, England. There he rose to the rank of Staff Sergeant. He earned 6 battle stars for major campaigns. He survived raids over Berlin. He supported the D-Day invasion. He helped bomb key German targets. These missions were deadly. Many didn't make it back, but Matthau's skill, courage, and a bit of luck saw him through. When the war ended, Matthau returned home. He used his GI Bill benefits to study acting at the New School's dramatic workshop in New York. His teacher was Erwin Piskor, famous German director known for bold political plays. Mal learned new ways to act, focusing on truth and real emotion. His classmates included future stars like Marlon Brando, Tony Curtis, and Rod Steiger. The school changed Matthau's life. It sharpened his talent and connected him with people who would shape American theater and film. In 1946, Matthau made his professional stage debut. He was 26. His first role was in and of the 1,000 Days on Broadway. He wasn't the star. He was the understudy for Percy Warm, who played Cardinal Wolsey. But it was a start. Matthau soon found himself covering 7 different roles in the same play. It was exhausting but taught him discipline and stagecraft. These early days gave him the foundation for a long and successful career. The 1950s brought a new challenge: television. Matthau took it head-on. While many actors struggled to survive between stage jobs, some even sold sporting goods at Macy's, Matthau turned to live TV. He appeared in an incredible 158 shows during that decade. These included Studio One, Armstrong Circle Theater Omnibus, Goodyear Theater, and Robert Montgomery Presents. The work was tough. The shows were live. There was no room for mistakes. But Matthau thrived. The constant work made him one of the most adaptable and reliable actors in New York. By 1955, Matthau's career reached a turning point. He starred in Will's success Spoil Rock Hunter on Broadway. The play ran for 444 performances. His wit and charm earned him rave reviews. That same year, he made his film debut in The Cuckian, playing a villain opposite Burt Lancaster. The movie grossed $2.6 million, a solid success. These achievements pushed Matthau into the spotlight as a leading man in both theater and film. Still, Matthau kept working in TV until 1965. That year, everything changed. He starred in The Odd Couple on Broadway and won a Tony Award. He also appeared in The Fortune Cookie with Jack Lemmon. His role as scheming lawyer Whiplash Willie won him an Oscar. From then on, Matthau didn't need to take TV jobs to pay the bills. He had finally made it. Walter Matthau's gambling addiction took a shocking turn early in his career. In just 2 weeks, he lost $183,000. And it wasn't even during the regular baseball season. He blew that money on spring training games, the kind nobody takes seriously because they're so unpredictable. For a young actor still trying to make his name in Hollywood, this wasn't just a loss.